All right, welcome everyone. We're just going to give it a few minutes to allow everyone to log in, and then we'll get started. Hope everyone's keeping well. I'll just give it another minute. Okay, I think we'll get started. So, hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us for today's Women in Tennis Club webinar. To introduce myself, my name is Grania O'Neill. I'm the National Coordinator for the Women in Tennis programme here at Tennis Ireland. So the premise behind this webinar tonight is just an opportunity for you, the attendees, to gain some insight into the female initiatives that are being hosted in clubs. So our speakers tonight will inform us what's happening in their club, but I'd obviously love to hear about any other initiatives in your clubs around the country. Feel free to contact me if you have anything you want to share. So I'm delighted to be joined by my fellow panelists here. So we have Aileen, who's the chairperson of Greystones. Welcome, Ailish. She's going to talk a little bit about a ladies coaching program that she established for beginners. She kind of grew the female membership base from there. We also have Anne O'Hare, the ladies captain of Ashbrook Tennis Club. She's going to chat a little bit about a number of events and initiatives they implemented to increase their female membership. We're also going to be joined later on by David Doyle. Dave is the chairperson of my own club, Nason Tennis Club. He's actually just off the tennis court right now, so he's going to join us a little bit later on, but he's going to chat a little bit about what Nace do. I'm also joined by my fellow colleague Aileen, and I just want to thank her and my colleague Lisa for all their help in preparation for today. So just very quickly to go through a little keeping so are being recorded. I'm sure everyone is familiar with Zoom or has participated in a Zoom by this stage, but for anyone who is new, if you just hover your cursor over the screen right now, at the very bottom you'll see a Q&A box and then also the chat function. So we welcome and encourage any questions or comments throughout the webinar. So please feel free to type in a question into the Q&A or into that chat function as well. So without further ado, we're going to get straight into it. So we might start with yourself, Ailish, if you don't mind. Could you just talk a little bit about the ladies coaching program in Greystones?
Thanks a million, Grania, and thanks for the introduction. Yeah, I really want to talk about what we did in the last year in terms of our ladies coaching program. I mean, it started off with an objective to increase our membership base, and we were having an open day. And as a result of that, we decided, we'd never done it before, we decided to take a table up in Tesco's in the afternoon and just kind of be there as a meet and greet and tell people about our open day. But it became obvious as the day went on that there was a lot of women there who had played tennis before or were complete beginners and had an interest in tennis, but they were a bit nervous about joining a tennis club. And it just, as a result of the day, we kind of figured, oh, there's a bit of interest here and perhaps we could do something with it. So myself and the junior captain, I was secretary at the time, and the junior captain, we kind of came out of that and went, you know what, we need to kind of really look at this and push it at our open day. So we had it in our minds, and our open day was a couple of weeks later. So then, and we obviously invited those women down to our open day. So they came, they obviously told some friends, we advertised it on Facebook. We had it outside our clubhouse that we were having an open day. And we just, our open day was about encouraging people to try tennis. So, you know, the women who were, a lot of the women that we'd met that day in the supermarket came. Also, you know, they brought their friends, and, you know, they saw it on Facebook and they came down, and it became clear as the day went on. So we reckoned we had maybe 6 people initially when we were, you know, in our Tesco kind of people coming in. But then as the day went on, there was, you know, we kind of went, oh, maybe we're going to have 10, maybe we're going to have 12. And so in the end, we actually ended up with 18 women who wanted to start our coaching program, which was fantastic. And we decided that we were going, the other thing that we found out on the day is that, it's really important to put your coaching program at the right time. We had in the past put our coaching program at times that were unpopular in terms of the court hours, but we decided, no, we have to recognize that, these people are working. They're leading busy lives. They're trying to get, organized at the end of the evening. So we decided we were doing it at 8 o'clock in the evening, which on a Thursday evening, which was kind of, there was a bit of like a rumbling about that in our membership base that we decided to go with that. We also decided very clearly that we'd have a women's only coaching program, because in the past we tried to merge women and men's coaching and it didn't really work. We also were very particular about the coaches we chose to do it. I know Trace is on the call tonight. She was herself and another coach, Michael Ryan. They were the 2 coaches that we chose to do it, because we reckon they'd be very enthusiastic and interested in the ladies coaching, and that proved to be a huge success in terms of the kind of the camaraderie they established with the group. We decided also to have it at a good price point. So in the past, we'd given free lessons, which didn't necessarily work. We'd also done, say 4 coaching lessons, at a normal price, say a tenner lesson, didn't necessarily work. So we did it at a price that basically made no money, but it was cost neutral. So that was the decision we made. And so then we kind of, on the night we decided to do it, and Trace and Michael came up with a kind of an 8-week training, plan, a starter beginners training plan. And, we started it on the night. We took on, we took the 3 premium courts in the clubhouse. So it was very obvious this was coming on. We brought the ladies in beforehand just to kind of welcome them all and kind of greet them all. We started a WhatsApp group so that they could have people to communicate with, and we were fully available for that. And, we were there to basically answer any questions they had. And, we had there was a mixed enough group. There was people who'd had a reasonable amount of experience with tennis. There was people who were absolute beginners, but and there was people who'd played before and coming back, so it was it was a mixed group, but they all started at this kind of a basic kind of level. And it was just a really easy environment, I suppose, for them to get used to tennis. And we had a 10-week program, and it just became a really good group. And then following on from that, we had a social night at the end where we, I think we had cheese and, gave them a glass of wine and, had that social thing. And so that was kind of brought us up. It started around May and it brought us into June, so the end of June. And then I was concerned that we'd be leaving the program then and nobody would play again until September. And we'd had this in the past with open days in April. People came along and then they left, at the end of August, they kind of went, well, there's nothing for me. Like, they have 2 months and they didn't really know people well enough. So we encouraged them to kind of start a doubles group. So I put them basically what I called a chick league, and put 8 of them in a group, and they all mixed around with different partners, and they, some of them didn't know much about scoring systems and all that kind of stuff. So, but we did it all, and that kept them playing over the summer. And then there was obviously a demand for more coaching. So we started it again in September. And this time we started a Thursday morning group. We started a Saturday morning group. We started 2 groups on a Thursday. We had a continuation program and a beginners program, and we had some mixed groups. And literally we went from 18 in the kind of May group to 51 in September. And then we continued it on again in January. And we had, again, about 48 people, which is not bad for that time of the year. And again, doing the same times. And it was just a fantastic, it became a fantastic success in terms of encouraging them to stick with their tennis. And, even throughout the COVID-19 crisis, we've seen them down, we've seen them start to become family members and really get involved and integrated in the club. So it's been great.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant as well, because I think the big thing with running those kind of programs is offering some kind of support or initiative that allows them to continue. So the whole idea of that WhatsApp group and the league and the social nights, because I think a lot of clubs, and I think you've said this before to me, but like you've tried stuff in the past and it hasn't really worked. So you have to kind of adapt and change your mindset and thinking.
But like one of the things we tried in the past was having like a Saturday evening at 5 o'clock coaching, not coaching, but it was like people coming down to hit with people, and it ended up people stopped doing it. Or we have a Monday night social night, which is a mixed group, and they used to go, our traditional way of inviting people to the club was, oh yeah, come down to Monday night social, all levels are welcome. But actually there was a huge nervousness about the Monday night social, and we'd had feedback that people were just lashing, some people were just lashing balls at, at people, and they were kind of going, oh, this is terrible, and then get completely nervous and don't come again. So we've had those experiences.
No, that's brilliant. I think it's a really well thought out idea, but it's quite simple in the sense that you start small and then you can grow. But yeah, no, that's brilliant. We might move on to our next guest speaker. So Anne, we might just have you chat a little bit about the initiatives you have in Ashbrook.
Okay, well, what I'm going to talk through is sort of a series of smaller initiatives that we run ongoing rather than one campaign like Ailish was doing. From a club point of view, we would be on a lot smaller scale. We have about 150 members. Obviously, always hoping to improve on that, but they're split pretty evenly between male and female. And then in the summertime, we'd have at a max of around 60 juniors involved in our summer camp. We have a presence sort of in the community locally, and this is the way we sort of our main source of new members, rather than a specific recruitment drive or advertising campaign. The other thing for us is that we're very conscious that we are in a very tennis friendly area where we have lots of other similarly sized clubs and quite a few significantly bigger clubs. Like most clubs, we have our main committee, our tennis committee, our junior committee. Most of what happens in the club obviously driven by them, but everybody's ideas are equally welcome. The first thing is that some of the initiatives or the things we do are aimed at all members, and then there's some things that we sort of put in place specifically for the ladies. In normal non-COVID times, when somebody takes out a full senior membership, they get 5 coaching sessions with our senior coach. These are group sessions, and we tend to get a lot of people new to tennis, so they just sort of form cohesive groups that match with the coaching setup pretty well. It also is a good habit for getting just people used to coming down to the club, seeing other people. Maybe we should push it a bit more that people actually are sort of more interactive with the newer members in these situations, but they do work. The 5 sessions does work, and we often find that what happens is that people then, once they've got to know the coach, they might book ordinary lessons obviously after that. We've received very positive feedback on this from our newish members as a way of integrating them into the club, which is always good. As I say, once people have joined, they can avail of the coaching individually, obviously on a pay as you go basis. The other thing, we 2 sort of group sessions that we've organized for ladies coaching. One, I'm sure like everybody else represented tonight, for league teams, sort of before a league, during a league, we have coaching sessions. And then we also, in between leagues, which is often at sort of unpopular times of the year or times people don't really feel like playing, we'd have more mixed standards, so newer people can join in with more established people and all be coached together. It has its pluses, it has its minuses, but it is good. One thing that we've done that was particularly for the ladies is sort of ladies doubles with a difference. And the initiative came from the tennis committee sort of winter of 2019, about October, November. And again, it was just to set aside a night for people to show up, ladies to show up to play doubles. Sounds normal, regular, but the thing was you just literally show up, and depending on who shows up, you don't get to play with the people you normally play with. So you play, it's a mixed standard, trying to incorporate different people into the group, etc. One thing that was sort of informative for us was when you've been in a club for years, you assume everybody knows everybody else. But with what this proved was that people might know of somebody's names, etc., but they didn't. This was an opportunity for them to match the faces to the names. What we did was we played 1 or 2 rounds in these sort of mixed pairings, and then to finish off the evening, again, sort of what Ailish was saying, to get over the fact of somebody belting the ball at new people and all the rest of it, they got a chance to do that at the end when they played with people that they'd normally play with on a similar standard. Again, this has got positive feedback, and when times return to normal, we'd hope to get this up and going again. Another thing we did, all of us who've played league sort of know how much fun it is, tennis and tees and all the rest of it. But as a small club, we would only ever have a max of 3 teams in any of our leagues. So we would have a sizable number of ladies who are well able to play league, but we can't field enough teams, like sort of predictably. So what we did was we organised a couple of friendlies for team events between our clubs and our neighbours and other clubs that we had connections with. So for all intents and purposes, it was a league match, but it was just a bit of fun. They went, played same format as sort of a senior or a winter league, so 3 sets of doubles. Again, positive feedback. Like many bright ideas, though it involves a lot of hard work to arrange, so we probably haven't done as many of them as we could. A more recent initiative based on sort of restrictions, etc., we've noticed we have quite a few new families taking out membership. And in normal situation, we'd be organising social tennis for them to meet people. But this is a small initiative. It's been slow to get off the ground. So hopefully it'll pick up in the next few weeks. But it's basically for new members, again, less WhatsApp, for getting people to be in touch with each other. So you just sign up if you want the opportunity to play against somebody new. To start with, it's complete strangers, so I can see that that's sort of not the easiest thing for people to sign up to do. But hopefully with a bit of encouragement, it'll happen. The other thing is it gives people a chance sort of to play with someone other than members of your own household, etc., which could be a plus at these days. Just one other thing then, which is more sort of off the court rather than on the court, is that we've tried to do a few ladies only events. Again, trying to have a better mix of people, not only the people that you regularly play your tennis with. Actually, it was almost exactly a year ago we would have had our last one to sort of celebrate summer league. So everyone that played on the team or subbed, just a ladies' night in the club, local takeaway, and it went down very well. Again, people sort of mixed with people they wouldn't normally sort of be in a position to have a chat with or whatever. And just to go back to, I mentioned at the beginning about our juniors, obviously the future of any club sort of is invested in their juniors. As Dublin clubs go, we have a very small section, as I say, a max of about 60 active juniors during the summer camps. The majority of these are actually in the 7 to 9 age group, so quite young. And as we're sort of looking at ladies' involvement in tennis tonight, it's worth mentioning that the overwhelming majority of the children are boys. So we've all heard how significantly sort of fewer girls than boys are involved, and our numbers definitely reflect this. One of our junior committee's plans is to encourage girls in our local schools local to us to come down and try it out, etc. But obviously that too is on hold. With the fact that our children are that bit younger, sort of the main body of them, we're hoping to learn maybe from other clubs involved tonight, sort of how they manage to build the bridge from junior into senior. so that the children we now have in 5 or 6 years' time will be representing the club, and happy to do it, and that they stay with us basically as well. And finally then, just everyone participating tonight that's involved in the club knows that even the simplest of new ideas or initiatives takes huge commitment from volunteers, and like way beyond the people who sit at the committee meetings, whether they're Zoom or real at these days. And sometimes it's a good measure of how we're getting on with including people, that when we are running something and we ask for volunteers, they step forward. And a lot of our newer people sort of say, oh, it's okay, we didn't know, like, sometimes they don't think that so many people need to be involved to make these sort of events happen. But it's really a nice it's heartening when some of the more recently joined members are the ones who sign up. So that's basically what we're doing.
Oh, that's brilliant, Anne. I think it's good as well, because I think we definitely all fall victim to going back to what you said about the ladies' doubles and getting them to kind of interact with each other and play someone that they're maybe not comfortable or they don't know as well. But I think we all kind of fall victim to that sometimes in our own clubs, that we see the same faces every day, but we still don't know their names, or we know them, we know how they play and how they look, but not their names. So it's like it's a nice way to get kind of players chatting and integrating with each other. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, perfect. So we might move on to Dave here. Dave's just joined us, so he's the chairperson of Nace Tennis Club. He's just going to chat a little bit about the kind of coaching setup, the junior coaching setup in Nace, and a little bit about actually what you mentioned previously, Anne. So hopefully this will help you, but a little bit about kind of getting juniors integrated into the senior setup and how that's helped Nace. So the floor is yours, Dave.
Great. Can you hear me okay, Grania?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Listen, thanks for inviting me in, Grania. I don't know what was said before because I've just joined and I'm just off court. So I'm the chairperson of Nace Lawn Tennis Club for the last couple of years now. So just firstly, I'd like to thank Grania for inviting me on. I think this is a fantastic initiative for Tennis Ireland to acknowledge Grania's position. I think it's a really, really important position that they've appointed Grania to. And it's great that we're starting to highlight these issues in tennis that we do have. Maybe, I know from the last speaker there, and we may have an issue in some clubs with female participation. I'll talk a little bit later just about coaching in our club, but from a gender perspective in Nace, we're very, very balanced. We're very lucky. On our league side of things, we're very balanced as well. In the recent Winter League just gone, we had 10 ladies and 10 men's teams, all very equally supported. Just the way we've kind of structured our tennis club, I suppose, it was just important for me as the chairman at the very start that we went in with a structure. So when we're trying to do any of our tennis programs or any of our activities within the club, for us, it's all about structure. We don't really base it on gender, but in how I finish this, you'll see that males and females benefit from it equally. And that's what's really important, is that with structure, we treat everybody the same, that we don't have. I seen one of the questions there just popping up in the Q&A about, are your men's teams better served than the ladies' teams, or whatever way it was phrased. But because of the structure that we have within the club, we make sure that everybody is equally served. So just to start, I suppose, from the committee point of view, we have 12 members on our committee. We're not in any way gender biased. This year we have 3 males, we have 9 females. Last year that was almost a complete reverse. So it doesn't really matter. The one thing that we do have on the committee is we have very specific structures around what we want everybody to do. And so one of the, without going through all the different positions, but one of the recognized positions on it that we designed was a tennis development lead. And I just have I have to get it up here, what the description of it was. So it's the transition of junior members to senior tennis, promoting membership participation, involvement in coaching and other tennis activities. So that's the really, really important one. And I know, and you were talking there about you've got a high cohort of 7 to 9. So for us, we wanted to put a plan in place about how we transition our juniors from playing in our coaching programs from 9, 10, 11, 12, and then getting them integrated. So we do have a junior coaching program that once kids get to under 14, we blend them with our adults. So we have blended coaching programs. We don't stop our juniors up to the age of 18. We stop them maybe at around the age of 14, where it becomes a senior adult squad, or sorry, adults junior squad. So for example, on a Friday and a Saturday, I have a group of girls. I think, Ron, you came into them one day. when I was coaching them. There's a group of 12.
They're a great bunch.
Yeah, a great little bunch. But every second week we bring adults into that we invite the adults in so that they get that kind of integration from junior to adults. And then I have a boys squad on a Saturday that we do the exact same thing. The same then if we're organising any of the league training, we'll try to blend the juniors at the age of 14. And as I said earlier, we don't differentiate between boys and girls. We just try to make sure that the structures are there that serves everybody. But that tennis development lead is really, really important because that person reports into the committee on a monthly basis, and it's all around membership retention. So really when we're looking at when we're losing our kids, at that 12, 13, 14 years of age, where kids are starting to specialize in one sport, and we do lose a lot of girls. That's why we designed that tennis development lead role. And we have probably at the age of 14 to 16 now, we probably have about 50 girls, because I looked at it before I joined the call, that are actively integrating into our adult program, which is fantastic, and that we're not losing those girls. I didn't look at the exact numbers on the boys, but that's what we are in terms of the girls. So where am I? Under 14, the blended. One of the issues that we do have, and I know other clubs, I was talking to Grania earlier today about this, one of the issues that we do have though is, we'll say, the lack of female coaches. So in Ireland, we do have an issue with trying to promote female coaches. So what we started to do within now, we have, I think, 11 of our girls, and we have, I'm not sure how many of the boys, again, I was only looking at the girls for this call, have signed up to the Tennis Ireland Play and Stay assistant course, so that they can start to assist the coaches on court, they can start to assist the summer camps, and that we can start to maybe get some of those girls to transition to performing their level 1 coaches, so that we can try to promote coaching from within rather than trying to have to go out. Because that was a real issue for us. Last year, we were looking for a female coach because we had, if any of you are in the tennis coaching world, we would have had a really good coach, Kasia, who returned home to Poland within the last year and a half, and she was with us for over 10 years. Grania, I think she would have coached you as well as a kid.
You did indeed, yeah.
Good girl. But last year, we went out looking for a coaching position, and we didn't get one application from all of Tennis Ireland's database or Tennis Coach Ireland's database. So there is a big problem there. I know Grania, the call with Judy last week was addressing coaching in women and trying to promote more coaches. But it's something that we're actively trying to take on board within our club to address it, because I know that's going to be part of your role now, hopefully, to promote more tennis into those or more coaches into those positions. Just in terms of leagues, when I was saying earlier about the structure, there was an issue before, I suppose, that men would always, because we're a class 1 club for I don't know how many years now, for men and for ladies, but men would have always got the first courts maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago. They would have always got the dome when it went up first, and they would have, if it's built up, whatever. The way we do our court allocation now is there's 10 teams, everybody gets put into a hat, and there's absolutely no preference on what team you are or what gender you are. It doesn't matter. We make sure that that's communicated to all the teams in advance. And it's just, we've structured as many of the processes within the club that we possibly can to make sure that it's fair to everybody. Was there any, that's really it, Grania, from a coaching point of view and a structure point of view within the club. So if anyone has any questions on it, I know I only have 10 minutes, or if you want me to speak more, I can.
No, I think that was really interesting, Dave. And I know even kind of to go back on that whole idea, integrating and that blended and allowing juniors to get involved in the senior league. Like, I know even from my own personal experience, I think I started league as soon as I could. I think I was 15 or 16, but I think it's gone a little bit younger now. But I know definitely it really helped me. I came on the team and I was paired up with an adult. So I was paired up with Laura Gibson, and I really, really like that. So I think if you can, yeah, and if you can, to kind of look at pairing up a junior with a senior player or a more advanced player, because it kind of gives them the encouragement and almost like a mentor, for want of a better word, to just kind of make them feel comfortable. And obviously we've had this issue before, sometimes we have so many juniors who are trying to figure out who can give us a lift places. Yeah. So
one of the other things as well, Grania, that we've done, and we had consultants come in and design our court allocation document, and I think this was a really important thing that we done about 6-7 years ago, and it basically looks at every user situation within the club, from junior to senior, from league to competition to social to non-social, to every single playing scenario, and they were all ranked. So we don't, so for our junior program, juniors get equal use of the courts to adults Monday to Friday up to 7:30. So we'll say Monday and Wednesday would be geared towards indoor juniors. Tuesday, Thursday would be geared towards indoor adults. Friday would be balanced. Saturday is all day juniors. Sunday would be all day seniors. And that was really, really important thing for us to get down, because then as well, when our kids turn to under 14 and they're eligible to play DLTC League, we switch the rights of a junior who is 14 years of age. If they're playing league for our club, we switch them over to adult rights so they can play on adult time, because we're trying to blend them in with adults. So that's one of the other things, because you'll get a lot of clubs where they're very strict on juniors can't play past 6 o'clock, where juniors can't play after, can't play at night time with adults. So that was one of the big, it wasn't even a stumbling block. It just took members a little bit of time just to get used to it, that you're going to see kids that are 14 playing down at, if their parents allow them, that they can play at 8 o'clock for a league practice, because some of them are traveling away playing Monday night floodlit league for the club anyway. So
I think it was almost like an unwritten rule before that, the seniors didn't want the juniors, but I think by putting in that criteria, it just kind of set it in stone.
And again, it just helps. And I know the topic of tonight is women in tennis, but for me, it's around if we want to integrate and move all of our tennis clubs and programs in the same direction for men and women, it's all around structure, it's all around policies, it's all around making sure that everybody is treated equally. We do have some nights. I know Justin Phelan, one of our past captains, he ran midweek female-only tennis nights. And personally, I wasn't really a fan of those, just having female-only or male-only tennis nights. But in fairness, when he did run them, they filled up very quickly for both males and females. So we kept them running for one of the summers for a couple of years, and they were really, really successful. And that's where, some women might feel that they're a little bit more intimidated by men who are, can play tennis a lot better, and they're just at beginner level, or they're just at integrating into a better level. So I suppose once you look at all the different user case scenarios of all your members, and you try to put some sort of a policy or structure around that's fair to everybody, that's the best advice I can give. But we've a really vibrant tennis club. We've just over 1,400 members. We have just shy of 400 kids in our junior coaching program. Our focus is not on performance in any way. We're all about participation. If I was able to turn the camera around now, you'd see the tennis club where I'm down. The courts are full of they're full of adults, and now, and there's ladies, men's, old, young. It's very, very good. We don't really have any issues, but I do believe that it did come down to the structures that are in place. So.
Yeah, I'd agree. Brilliant. Sure, we'll go into the Q&A here now. We'll take a look here now. So forgive me, I'm just looking at the questions here. So we'll just start with a question for you, Dave. Rosari here has asked a question for Dave. How do we encourage younger girls to start and stay with tennis?
Well, one of the things that we do is we do run very successful open days. So I know the Tennis Ireland framework for running open days was designed around a past chairman that we would have had here about 8-9 years ago, Ronan Ryle. So that always attracts for us a huge amount of juniors come July for the junior camp. So generally, obviously, we're not going to be doing it this year. We would always run a very successful junior or open day in June. And that brings in, that's not gender based. That's just attracting families. We go on the local radio. We go into all the local schools, male, female, mixed. We bring them in and we make sure they're all encouraged. We mix all of our kids here. So it's really just about getting the message out to parents, because I don't think tennis is a difficult sport to sell to a young kid, male or female. I don't think so. Yeah. It's just about when they're here that they feel welcome, that the program that you put in place, it works for them. So one of the things that I always find as well, and we would have found this a couple of years ago, when you do successful membership retentions, you can put out Facebook advertisements to advertise new members. Most clubs are doing it now post-COVID lockdown, and they're getting in a load of new members. If there's no structure for those members, once they land in your club, you are going to lose those members. So it's not difficult, in my opinion, to get girls into a club or boys into a club. It is difficult to keep them if we don't have a structure around.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's to cater for everybody, Grania. It's not just like your performance programs or your non-performance programs. It's to cater to those girls and boys that just want to come down and play tennis for 1 hour a week, and then they want to come back next week.
Yeah, and that's it. I think keeping it fun and engaging, so they're actually enjoying it rather than kind of feeling the pressure when they step on the tennis court. I think that's really important. We might direct this question, and I don't know if Ailish or Anne, if you have any experience with this, but I think Dave kind of mentioned a little bit with NACA structure, but do you find that men's leagues teams get more supportive than ladies league teams? Any suggestions on how to improve that or motivate not only ladies but men to support would be great. So I think that whole idea of having kind of male champions or male advocates, and similar enough to Dave, just kind of advocating for both genders and kind of questioning, okay, if one's getting the preferential treatment, what can we do to change that perception or that kind of culture? Would either of you kind of have any advice or tips?
I can speak to this. I wouldn't say that we have any. I don't think there is an issue in terms of one getting preference over another. I'm probably going to be told by people in my club, what are you talking about? But I would say there is particular times that particular people, that it is kind of men's times or maybe ladies' times. And one of those men's times is Sunday morning. And it generally is predominantly men, but I suppose we are lucky that we have so many courts that it's not really an issue. The other thing that, like, there's obviously there's women's times as well where it's predominantly women. So we have Wednesday morning ladies tennis, we have Thursday morning ladies tennis, there's Friday morning, which isn't a booked tennis session, but it is women come down and have a social game. So there isn't really an issue, and I wouldn't say from a league perspective or anything that men get, because they're on at different times anyway, so I don't think anybody gets preference one over the other in our club.
Yeah, I think we'd be quite similar. Again, maybe some of the members might disagree, but it's tradition as to when people play rather than somebody getting preference over somebody else. And certainly from league or sort of availability of the courts for people for squad sessions or whatever, there would be no preference given either way.
No, that's fair enough. We have a question here from Jean. I'll just open this up to anyone, but have any of you offered any monetary discounts to encourage membership or monthly membership?
We do. We offer a monthly membership. Not normally during the summer, like it's from sort of I think it's September through to May probably, that we do encourage, advertise whatever, a monthly membership. It's mixed as to whether the people actually, sometimes these people might happen to be in Dublin for a few months and they only want to take out sort of a short membership. So it's not a huge gain for us. We don't normally allow it during the summer because the courts are usually sort of pretty busy, but we've had a fair take up on monthly membership. Yeah.
We prorate membership whenever somebody joins. So if somebody joins in April, we don't charge them for the whole year. We charge them from April to the rest of the year. We also offer direct debit in terms of paying your monthly fee, and there isn't really, like, we only offer, it's only a tiny admin fee in terms of paying that monthly direct debit. So what we did actually with the ladies coaching program, what we did was to get them committed is really, I suppose, we set them up on pay for your ladies coaching now. So, and it wasn't a huge amount of money, it was €40 for 8 weeks. Pay that money now, and we get them set up on direct debit. So they're committed for the 2 months, and then we had more events coming on so that they did those. But in general, we do encourage direct debits. Probably a third of our membership is on direct debits, but we also want people to commit. So, I mean, we're not really we're having a situation now with COVID that people join and leave. Some people join and leave very quickly. They're just not integrating, and that can be an issue. And we're having a situation now that people are joining, but we're kind of saying, look, you have to join for the rest of the year. There's not this, tennis is very popular, and we're not looking for members who only want to join for the summer months. And we did that before with open days. We kind of had them joining, and we gave them a trial till August. It didn't really work. So yeah, we do offer direct debit membership, and we do encourage people to do that at open days.
The same with NACE, isn't it, Dave?
NACE would be the same as Ailish. We would do pro rata, so we only charge you for the month that you join to the rest of the year, but we don't offer monthly memberships. One of the incentives that we have done in the past is we offered 18 months for the price of 12. So if we're trying to run like an open day in June, we would always run an 18 month for 12, and then just to secure the new members in. that would generally, when we run our open days, probably bring us in around 35k in revenue. So it's good. It's a good membership initiative, but that's the only one that we do. And the same as Ailish, then we do the pro rata per month.
Perfect. Yeah, we have 2 comments here from Louise, and she said she's from CLTC. I believe it's Clontarf. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but she just mentioned that CLTC have a mentoring system a couple of years ago, which worked well. And she was also, I think that was in relation to the integration of juniors and seniors. And then she also said that CLTC charge a full year for this year they join, and then pro rata for the following year to encourage people to stay on as members. So just 2 comments for any of our attendees. There is a question here, and I believe, Anne, you kind of mentioned it a little bit with the ladies doubles with a difference, but we might just get, I suppose, your opinion. So Joanna is after saying, from your experience, and I can open this up to anyone, from experience, what is the best approach to mix players at different levels and to give players at lower level an opportunity to play with better players? So I think, Anne, you kind of mentioned that a little bit with that ladies doubles with a difference.
Yeah, that was sort of, apart from sort of the social aspect of getting people to know each other, it was also to bring on, I mean, you only improve by playing sort of the higher standard of tennis as is suitable for you. So we do, one of the purposes of that was to allow people who were maybe class 6, 7 from a Dublin DLTC point of view to play against people. Our highest team would be class 3. So like that would be encouraging. But we also have to be mindful that like everybody has to, if everybody comes out to play tennis of a night, they have to have sort of feel as if they've had a good game. So that's why we'd have sort of a couple of rounds of the mixed standards, and then the last one would be sort of a hit with the people of your own standard, so that it sort of worked for both the more experienced players and the beginners or whatever as well. It is tough because people, when you get out on tennis court, you just want to hit the ball, and it can be very discouraging for people as well if they're seeing the ball, if they can't return a serve or whatever. But we've found as well, though, that people, the more experienced players, sort of adjust their game in that mixed setup.
Yeah, and I think even as well, Dave, you might correct me, but I know NACE do a lot of kind of like interclub competitions, giving maybe players who typically wouldn't play with certain people a chance to play up and play against the better players. Would I be correct in saying that?
Yeah, we do that. And just for anyone that's on Club Manager, I know most of the clubs are after moving on to an online system now because of COVID. That we've just launched a ladder through the membership system. So now all membership have access to, use the tournament or how you book your courts. They have access to into all the membership details. They can see anyone that wants to sign up and play singles, regardless of whether you know them. And it's an active ladder now that's starting to play. I also think the tennis, the ITF, when they announce the world tennis number in the coming weeks, I believe Ireland is in the pipeline for having that in the next month or 2 months. Once that happens, then that's really going to change the way that players have access to different players, because we're all going to be ranked on a number now. So it means you'll be challenging people, not necessarily because you know them, it's because they're of similar standards. So I think that's really, really going to help. But for us as well, I know Mark Finnegan is running a little internal tournament on the first week in July and the second week in July, but it's actually a mixed gender tournament as well. So based on, he's pairing all the players up based on their abilities, not their gender. So that's a really good idea. So that's, it's just I suppose different ways of doing different things, I suppose.
Thinking outside the box a little bit.
Yeah, and like you would know as well, Grania, sorry to cut you off there, but you know as well from some of the class 1, 2 and 3 training sessions that you would have ran. We run them for men and ladies. We do it based on the league you're in. We don't do it on the, it's not men or ladies training. It's class 1, 2 and 3 training, or class 1 training, whatever it is. So we try to, because the best ladies in our club are just as good as the best men in our club, and class 5 men are just as good as, but the class 5 men are just as, they're just as good as the class 5 ladies here. So it's very similar.
Absolutely. And I think it develops a bit of good camaraderie in the club as well. And it's a bit of crack, and you can kind of, you're playing against different people. We did actually have one specific question for David, and I feel like I could answer it for you, but I'm going to just ask you specifically. So Shirley's after saying that, David, you mentioned you moved away from performance. Why participation over performance and not both? But I think we kind of have a bit of both in NACE, but you might just explain that
Yeah, we do. I suppose it's a very hard thing for clubs to decide what's your priority. So 95%, and I know actually there's one performance tennis parent on this. I'm not going to highlight her, but she's a performance tennis, and I would have loads of conversations with that tennis parent over the years about where the focus of the tennis club should be. But in reality, 96% of your members are non-performance. They're players that want to play tennis once a week. So again, it's like a lot of what Tennis Ireland are trying to do now. They're going down to the grassroots of how, of where we support clubs, trying to get the grassroots. It's great to see parks tennis being pushed by Tennis Ireland so actively. I've seen James Klusky on LinkedIn yesterday pushing it, and it's all trying to promote grassroots, because if we focus on the set, like you were saying there, and your 7, 8, and 9-year-olds, but if we focus on those 7, 8, and 9-year-olds and giving them all memorable experiences and making sure, you might get 5% of them that will want to go on to a Leinster squad, and if they want to go on to a Leinster squad in Dublin and train 2-3 times a week in Leinster, that is brilliant. We've done our job with them. We do have performance coaching within our club. We definitely do. We've Mark Finnegan, he's a college tennis coach. He's here and he's running a really active next generation NACE, and we've loads of kids coming from different clubs here to attend that. But really, it's a very small part of what we do, and it's not a major focus. Our major focus is making sure of the 95% of players that want to play recreationally and socially, or at some sort of mild competitive level. That's our focus, because the kids and the adults that are performance, they will look after themselves. And we want to make sure, so like we'll say, for example, for Mark, we give Mark the courts to run his programs. Bronnie, you know, if the ladies class 1 or the men's class 1 want to come down and they want to organize training, we would provide them their courts to come down to practice themselves. But as a club, our focus would be to make sure that the kids and the parents are the adults that only want to train once a week, that there's a structure and there's something for them to follow.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know even from my own experience from playing as a junior, there wouldn't have been as many people on the courts. And I think it's a good problem that we have now, that, there's stress about, can you book a court at the right time, or there's hugely popular times, like from 5 p.m. on, we've usage. So
court availability here is tight. Like, I mean, it's crazy tight.
Yeah,
but
it's a good problem to have.
It's good, it's fair, but it's a really active club,
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's all the questions we have here. Does anybody have any kind of closing remarks they want to say before I finish up? Everyone's good? We're all good? Okay, super. So perfect. So first off, I just want to thank you, the attendees, for joining in tonight. I hope you've gained something new out of it. I really want to say a big thank you to our panelists for kindly sharing their insight and expertise tonight. There will actually be, so we'll probably do it early next week, but we'll send through kind of a support document or a quick synopsis of what was said tonight. So just the main points, so just to keep an eye out for that, we'll that to you. And then lastly, I will ask, so once you leave this webinar, there'll be a very quick survey. It'll only take a minute to fill out, but we'd be very appreciative if you could do that for us. And it kind of helps us plan the next webinar. So with that being said, just thank you very much for joining in. Thanks again to our panelists, and hope to see you again very soon.
Thank you, Grania, for running it.
Thank you. Well done, Grania.
For your hard work.
Yeah, thanks, Emil.
Very important role. Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.